Hi there, I'm Joey.
I'm Jacob.
And we are watching Star Trek for the first time. Last time on Star Trek, we met the Romulans. We had actually some pretty great Kirk moments, and it was a good time. One of my favorite episodes of the show so far.
Pretty easily one of my favorites.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So today we are watching an episode called Shore Leave.
Shore Leave.
Shore Leave. My only hope, my desperate hope going in, is that it's an anime beach episode. And I think that's, if it's anything less, I'm gonna hate it.
Hey, maybe we got the beach episode. Let's find out, right? But I just want to say, before we go into the episode, I don't know if I've said this on audio before, but I've said before, that I enjoy that this series uses a lot of actual ship terms.
Yeah.
Instead of a made up terminology, it's all terms I know the meaning of.
Yeah, it works. But yeah, so we're about to get into post-episode thoughts in a minute. Be sure to join us then. We're about to watch Shore Leave. We are being starved with the shirtless Shatner count lately. We're getting so close to it,
right?
But we don't get to actually add to it.
No, I mean we probably could have, but
maybe. Well, we had the half shirtless Shatner here and the half shirtless Shatner back in We're No Man.
Right.
So maybe we could combine them.
I don't know.
So that was Shore Leave. What the hell?
It was. It's like a proper actualization of the kind of idea Alice in Wonderland has.
Yeah, it's about as close to an anime beach episode that we could have gotten, I think. You know?
Yeah.
It's right there. My first note here in all caps is bunny. Because I didn't know what we were doing at first.
Right?
I just saw a giant bunny.
Saw a giant bunny, and then Alice comes running by.
Yeah, actually, before we continue this conversation, I do want to point out that this is the last episode of 1966.
Is it?
So from the next episode on, it'll be 1967 as to when these aired.
That's interesting to know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so final year of the final episode of the year that Star Trek began, which I think is interesting. But yeah, so this is about a planet that makes all of your imaginations come true, and it actualizes what you're thinking, and people keep accidentally making horrifying things with their imagination.
God only knows what happened if you thought of Godzilla.
I would love that. I would fucking love that. But yeah, so it starts in this really great sequence where McCoy sees some Alice in Wonderland shit because he's thinking about Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
And we see a giant white rabbit, and we see a little girl playing Alice, and hijinks ensue. That's all this episode is.
And then this happens. And then that happens.
More and more people come down to the planet. They think some crazy shit. The crazy shit appears, and people just fucking die. We kill off two named characters in this. And they come back. One of them comes back by the end.
We don't see Angela come back.
The other one we don't see. Which I want to point out, Angela's in this episode. The same Angela from Balance of Terror, who lost her fiancé,
right.
who tragically died. And now she's flirting with this new guy here. I didn't even catch the name.
I didn't catch his name.
Unless they're definitely implied to be a couple, right?
The only thing I thought of two things. One, either continuity isn't tight anyway, or B, these episodes aired out of order.
Maybe. But wow, wow. Does make for some really funny implications though. She just immediately moved on to this other guy that she was maybe seeing on the side.
I like the idea that now in that super serious episode that she was seeing this other guy on the side when the ship's being attacked.
Yeah, right. So of the crazy shit that gets formed because of these people's imaginations, Sulu forms a gun. And he talks about how he's going to add it to his collection.
Right, and I assume that means he has an antique pistol collection going on.
Well, no, because he has his fucking sword from the Naked Time.
Fine, then an antique weapons collection.
Which is the funniest thing. They just let him have that?
And just on the ship.
So actually, some really interesting things come out of this. For Kirk as a character, he talks about his time at the academy. He mentions this this fucker that he went to the academy with named Finnegan, and also implied that there's this character named Ruth that shows up, and she is it's this love interest for Kirk, I guess.
Presumably from the Academy, because Finnegan and Ruth are from the same time period last we saw them 15 years ago.
Yeah. So we see her a couple times, and I wish we got a bit more on her. We got more about Finnegan here than
Oh my
Ruth.
god, right?
Finnegan was the best thing about this episode. Like, there's a whole sequence where Kirk is like chasing Finnegan for like a solid 5 minutes, and then they fist fight for another 5 minutes, and it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Like
everything else, it's great fun.
I said to you, I was like, I could watch that for an entire episode.
Like, specifically the chase part.
Yeah, just the dude playing Finnegan.
Because
like he makes that scene.
Right. Because like he does that thing where like in JRPGs you'll enter and you'll like start on a journey like at a path, and then when you leave, the same merchant's at the end. So like Finnegan be running, he's like on the bottom of a hill. Kirk gets to the bottom of the hill, he's at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And he's just like waving his arms all around.
Laughing his ass off. Like, it was it was so funny. Like, I loved it. It was so great. So we had that. Also, we meet a character in here named Yeoman Barrows.
Presumably replacing
Janice, yeah, because Janice, I think, the actress was fired from the show at this point.
Don't know why, but whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, so we meet Yeoman Barrows, and she brings some really bizarre sexual energy to this show. I don't know what it is, but well, also like specifically in Dr. McCoy, like DeForest Kelly's performance. I think it was trying to be charming. It came off a bit creepy at times.
Oh, totally.
But he's like flirting with Barrows the whole time, and there's like this scene where they're walking together, and she's like, "Oh, it's such a nice place here. You should be dressed like a fairy tale princess." And then a dress appears, and she dresses like that. There's this whole sequence where she's getting changed, and McCoy's trying to talk to someone on the Enterprise, and the other guy that's with Angela, right?
Yeah, part of the landing party.
And he just keeps looking over at her getting changed. He's like, "Okay, just fuck off, please. Just end this scene, please." Also, every time that they never like established what the antenna of doom was.
No, they never did.
I mean, like, we can assume it's the thing that makes their imaginations come to life.
But it popped up more like it's an evil alien doom.
Yeah, and I called it the antenna of doom because it looks like the antenna of doom. It's great. But yeah. So in the mix of like things that like show up here, there's like a weird like off-screen bit where the other guy that's with Angela is like, I just imagined some birds and there were some birds, and it's like, oh well, I guess there are birds now, right. And they just never show the birds.
The one guy imagines a plane, then the plane shows up later.
Yeah.
Sulu imagined a samurai, and then later Kirk punches it.
Yeah, I like the samurai bit. Sulu imagines the samurai. The samurai's just like running around this place. And then later on, when Kirk and Spock are trying to escape...
A tiger that we saw earlier.
Escape a tiger, yeah, which was imagined by... Who was it? Was it by Sulu, actually?
No, that wasn't Sulu. That was the guy that
was the guy
Angela's hitting up with now.
Yeah. Okay, so they're being chased by the tiger. They run into this samurai, and Spock and Kirk just bum rush him and just knock him down. It's a great little sequence. I don't know, I thought it was funny, but Spock comes down eventually. At one point, McCoy says to Barrows, he's like, he's like, you look so pretty. You need like a knight in shining armor here. And then a knight in shining armor shows up, impales McCoy, right. Just fucking kills him. And there's a great captain's log that comes in afterwards. Just the way Shatner delivers it. He's like, captain's log, we're down this planet, whatever. And my ship surgeon is dead.
Right? It's so hard and definitive.
It is. So we have that. Another Angela dies. They just kill Angela with this plane that shows up, and it kills her. And then we never see her come back. Like, we see McCoy come back by the end.
Yeah.
But we don't see Angela come back. And I think that's fucked up. But then Kirk fucking takes the gun from Sulu and wastes the knight himself. Like, he just kills the knight.
Yeah.
Like, he just unloads on him. So plane kills Angela. What else? So then we find out what this whole thing is. We meet this caretaker of this planet. It's like an amusement park planet.
Yeah.
And the caretaker shows up and is like, oh, well, this is intended to be a nice place here, but and it could be even better. And if you guys are on shore leave, I mean, you could have the greatest shore leave you ever had. At that exact moment, McCoy comes in with 2 feathered women attached to him.
Yeah.
I say feathered women. They're women wearing scantily clad feathered costumes. Anyway.
We're talking like bare minimum cloth to air on television.
It's pretty great. Like I have in my notes here, Dr. McCoy Man-whore era. So McCoy enters his Man-whore era. He's taking a page out of Kirk's book. He comes up with these two women. He's like, oh well, I imagine this cabaret that I know. And it's like, all right, sure.
And
thanks.
the yeoman gives him the side eye, like, what the hell?
Yeah, so McCoy hands off his women to Spock and the other guy that was there with Angela.
Yeah.
And Spock is like, no, thank you. So he hands the woman off to Sulu, which is the greatest bit in the whole episode.
Right?
And so Spock leaves. Everyone comes back onto the ship later, except for Angela.
Right.
Like,
we never see Angela.
Is Angela just fucking dead? Like, I hope she comes back. Like,
I think my favorite part of this would be if we never actually see her again. It's
I would
implied
love
that she died.
I would love if we never saw Angela again. But yeah. Wow, what an episode. It was a fun time, though. I had a really, really great time with this one.
To me, it was fun. It's one of those things where I'm like, and then this happens, and then this happens.
Yeah, it's just a random collection of things happening on screen. And it's a really good time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I was laughing like almost the whole way through, so it was worth the time.
yeah. So I guess that about does it. Be sure to join us next week when we continue Star Trek: The Original Series. Until then, this has been Joey Morgan.
I'm Jacob.
Goodbye.